Hi, this is Colin at sheetsresume.com, and I just want to make a quick video about how to negotiate salary when you're applying for a job. So, a lot of people get this wrong because they're not trained in negotiation, but the interviewers and HR people are. Generally speaking, in the first interview, if they ask you how much money do you want to make, you're still in get the job mode. So you just say, hey, look, I'm looking for the right fit. I'm open to any offer that you'd be willing to make me, and I'd be flattered by it if we get to that stage. Right now, I just want to focus on getting the best job for me in my career. So you're not trying to put out a number very early on in the conversation. Now, they might try to push you on this and say, okay, well, what's your current salary? And this is when I want everyone to be very comfortable with lying because HR reps and interviewers and recruiters will not hesitate to lie to you to save the company money. There's no law against them. This is a negotiation, and they are happy to lie to you if it saves them an extra 5, 10, $20,000 per year. So what you're going to do is if they ask you for your current salary, you're going to take what you currently make and you're going to add 20% to it. There are people in your field, in your location, doing exactly what you do that make 20% more and 20% less than you. So if you add on 20%, they will not bat an eye. So if you make $100,000, say you make 120. If you make $60,000, say you make 75, 20, 25% more. Um, Another way to do this is if they say, how much money do you want to make in your new role? And they really push you for an answer. A lot of people goof this up and they'll either say a singular number or they'll say a range. And if you give them a range, spoiler alert, they're going to give you the lowest number that you give them. So what I like to do is I like to make this multiple choice. And so I like to say, well, I would be thrilled to come into work every day for X. I would consider any offer over Y, and I probably would not consider or move jobs for any offer under Z. And what you're signaling to them is make me an offer between Y and X. And don't be an asshole and make me an offer lower than Z. And most companies are not going to go as low as Z when you give them three choices, especially if you're anchoring them on X by starting with the highest number when you're giving them that range. They're going to go ahead and make you an offer right around Y, that middle number. So you've done a much better job of anchoring them on a higher number. And always make sure that Z, the lowest number, is higher than you're making now because there is the chance that they try to offer you the lowest number in that range, but that's kind of a really jerk move, let's say, for them to do that to you. Um, and then the last thing that I want to say is, again, early in the conversation, you're just focused on getting the offer. Once they decide they want to make you an offer, so let's say two, three, four interviews, and they say, hey, we want to make you an offer. What salary do you want? Keep in mind that this is a moment where you can really change the trajectory of your earning potential in your career. Um, you have been decided as the candidate that they want in this role. They've spent months potentially interviewing you, lots of resources, people, time interviewing you, deciding if you're the best candidate. And they've said, you know what, Colin, you are the best candidate for this role. We want to make you an offer. They're not going to bulk at an extra 5, 10, $20,000, especially because they can always fire your ass if you're not working out in the job. So don't be afraid to ask for more money and don't be afraid to give them a number that actually makes you really happy. Because for these companies, $100,000 a year, it's not $100,000 a year, it's $8,500 a month, right? And they can spend, versus $90,000 is about $7,500 a month. They can spend an extra $1,000 a month on your salary for the first 3 to 6 months and risk $3,000 to $6,000 extra. And then if you're not working out, they'll just let you go. So don't be afraid to say the higher number if you're between two numbers. And a few other last negotiation tips, very common things that I see people do wrong in negotiations because they haven't taken an official negotiations class. Never say the first number if you can avoid it. Again, this is where how much do you want to make? Hey, I'm just looking for the best fit in my career. I'm really excited about this role in the company. Money is not as important to me as responsibility, autonomy, the problems that I'm working on, the culture of the business. Try to say whatever you can to make them throw out the first number. Because if you throw out the first number, you'll never be surprised by an offer. But if you don't throw out the first number, you may be blown away by what the budget is for the role. And if you say, oh, I'm looking for $100,000, they might be high-fiving in the background because the budget for the role was 150. But if you say, "Hey, look, I'm really happy where I'm at right now. I'm actually not looking to move for, just salary reasons. I'm looking for a better quality of life, better job, more interesting problems, better company culture." Then they might want to make you an offer in a few interviews. And because you haven't thrown out a number and you're saying I'm not moving for salary, so salary is a little irrelevant for me to talk about, they might make you an offer for that 150 for the budget they had for the payroll for the role, and you might get a huge pay raise. So rule number one, try to never throw out the first number. Rule number two is be comfortable with silence. A lot of people, after they say, this happened to me before when I've been interviewing someone for a job at Sheets and Giggles. I've said, "Hey, how much money do you want to make?" And they said 130. And then I just didn't say anything for about 3 to 4 seconds. And you can feel how uncomfortable that pause is, especially by phone. And the person immediately said, "But I think I can make 120 work if 130 is not doable." And I said, "Well, we'll find something that's doable." And I made him an offer for 125. Now, if he had not said 120, I probably would have made him an offer for the 130 because I really wanted this guy. But he negotiated against himself by filling that void of silence because it was uncomfortable, and it ended up saving me a little bit of money. Now, I'm not trying to be malicious with this stuff. I'm just trying to tell you, as someone who prides themselves on being a good negotiator, I know the rule of being comfortable with silence, and you should too. And then one of the last things is I actually just mentioned this a second ago, don't negotiate against yourself. So a lot of people, when they're ahead of a conversation, they get nervous. They start thinking, "Oh, am I actually worth this much money? Am I not? Maybe I should say a lower number. Ooh, I see the range is only this on Glassdoor. Let me not go in too hot." You're doing their job for them. They are adults. They run a business. They are perfectly willing to say and capable of saying, "Hey, your number's too high. We really like you, though. Would you be willing to come down?" Make them say that. Don't negotiate against yourself and say a lower number than you'd be happy with. So those are some of my tips and tricks for getting a really great offer when you're going through a job application process. Never say the first number. Be comfortable with silence. Don't negotiate against yourself. And if they do force you to say what you're currently making, add 20% to it. And if they force you to give them a range that you'd be happy in this new job, give them a multiple choice of three answers where you'd be thrilled to come into work. You would be able to consider any offer over this, and you probably would not consider any offer under this. And that's going to be a lot more successful for you, and you're going to get a much higher number if you keep these things in mind. Good luck out there. Again, Colin with sheetsresume.com. I love doing advice like this. Follow us for more recruiting, job hunting, job searching advice, always for free.